Hi, I'm Casey. Welcome to the iHeart Latin channel, where we are going over some introductory basics, some concepts that you need to know to learn Latin or make it easier to learn Latin. So there's a couple of key things I want to go over before we jump into lesson number one. We're just going to lay a foundation, things that you can be thinking about as we introduce, different parts of speech and things like that. I want you to look at the sentences I have on the board here. So the first concept we're going to kind of wrap our heads around is the idea that Latin is an inflected language. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute. But for now, let's look at these sentences on the board. So I want you to look at the word king. In each of these sentences, whether you realize it or not, the word king is playing a different role in English. So in the first sentence, it's the subject. In this one right here, it's the indirect object. In this one here, it's the direct object. Now, if you don't know that, it's totally fine. We're going to go over how to identify what role certain words are playing in sentences. We'll do that in upcoming lessons, but just take my word for it right now. But if we look at the actual word king, look at it and tell me, what difference do you see? Do you see any difference in the actual word, the letters themselves? It's not a trick question. And if you're sitting there thinking, with the exception of the apostrophe S here, the word looks exactly the same, and you would be right. So if we look at this, this sentence here, the word king is the subject. This one here, it's the direct object. So how do we know? How do we determine which is the subject and which is the direct object? Well, in English is an ordered language. So the way that we know what role a word is playing in a sentence in English is the order in which it comes. And that is fixed, and it very rarely changes. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, it is fixed. That is not the case with Latin. The words can come in any order. So how do we know what role a word is playing in the sentence? That's where we come back to the word inflected. So inflected just means that the ending of the word is going to change based on the role that it's playing in the sentence. So that's kind of the first big thing that native English speakers have a little bit of a hurdle, is this idea that words can come in any order. That's not what we're used to. And the way that you identify them is you look at the end of the word. I'll get into that more in upcoming lessons. So that's the first thing. Latin is inflected. The second key thing to master if you'd like to be successful in Latin is you need to know the 8 parts of speech in English. The 8 parts of speech, and if you want a cheat sheet, there is a link in the description. I have made some handy dandy PDFs that you can print out and you can just keep in front of you while you're studying. It goes over the 8 parts of speech. It defines them. It gives you an example. So if you don't already know them, you might want to print this out and just keep it handy. So that's the second thing, know your 8 parts of speech. The third thing, and this is another printout that you can find in the link in the description, is the 9 roles nouns can play in sentences. And this will come in handy a little bit further down the road, but for now, you just need to know that nouns, so everybody hopefully knows what a noun is, a person, place, thing, activity, or idea. They can have 9 different jobs in a sentence, and that's true in English and it's true in Latin. So it's helpful to know those 9 different roles. And then the last thing, and I sort of touched on this in the beginning, is you need to be able to identify what role each word is playing in the sentence. And if you don't know how to do that, there's some really easy questions you can ask yourself that we'll go over in upcoming lessons. But for now, I just want you to know that I have this cheat sheet that you can print out. It'll help you know the right questions to ask and how to identify the role that certain words are playing in the sentence. So do yourself a favor and print those PDFs out. Keep them handy. You won't be sorry. All right, let's go back to our sentences here, and I'm just going to show you exactly what I mean. So I've explained that in English, the spelling of the word doesn't change based on the role that it's playing in the sentence. In Latin, however, it does. So what would that look like exactly? I'm going to show you. I'm going to touch the board and turn it into Latin. Okay, as you can see, this is the word for king. The spelling is different based on the role that it's playing in the sentence. So here it's the subject, here it's what we call, in English we would call it a possessive noun adjective. We'll get into that later. Here it's the indirect object, here it's the direct object, and here it's the object of the preposition. So hopefully that kind of demonstrates what I mean when I say Latin is an inflected language, and you'll learn how to adjust the spelling based on the role that the word is playing in the sentence in future lessons. So let's dive into lesson 1. If you want to go on this Latin journey with me, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps me out. Also, don't forget to hit the bell so you know when a new episode is coming. I have loads of material, so you don't want to miss that. If you have a question, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I will do my best to get back to you ASAP. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in lesson 1.